You know how when you're in like an older car and you're trying to find a specific radio station and you are just getting this solid, aggressive wall of static.
Oh, yeah, just that awful hissing sound.
Right. And you tweak the dial just a fraction of a millimeter and suddenly the music is crystal clear.
Yeah.
The signal didn't suddenly appear out of nowhere, right? I mean, it was always there, just bouncing around the cabin of your car. You just finally tuned the receiver to catch it.
Which is, honestly, a perfect way to look at the mechanics of intuition. I mean, the information is present in the environment, but without the correct tuning mechanism, it just registers as white noise.
Yeah, exactly.
You need a physical bridge to translate that invisible frequency into, a tangible result.
Okay, let's unpack this. Today we're doing a deep dive into a really comprehensive framework that claims to be the instruction manual for doing exactly that.
It really is a massive collection of guides.
It is, and we are looking at how this text treats crystals not just as like pretty decorations for your bookshelf, but as literal mechanical vibrational bridges.
Right, they have a function.
Exactly. We're exploring how this framework uses physical objects, stones pulled from the earth, to attune the human mind to non-physical archetypal energies. Specifically, we're talking about spirit guides and goddesses.
And that concept of the vibrational bridge is the entire foundation here. In this system, a crystal is not just some passive lump of minerals.
Right.
It serves an active, almost technological purpose in a spiritual sense. The premise is that these stones possess inherent, stable frequencies.
Because humans are pretty chaotic by comparison.
Exactly. We have a very fluctuating energy field. So when you introduce a stone to that field, it acts as a stabilizing force. The text argues that they strengthen human intuition, align your spiritual energy, and theoretically open a direct channel of communication with these celestial entities.
But before you just, grab a handful of quartz and start asking for the winning lottery numbers.
Which doesn't work, by the way.
Right, sadly. But before you do that, this framework insists on a really strict categorization of who or what you're actually trying to dial in. You need to know your target before you tune the dial.
Yeah, you have to be specific.
And what I found so compelling is how strictly the system compartmentalizes these energies into two totally distinct buckets. You've got spirit guides on one side and goddesses on the other.
It's very delineated.
Yeah, for an audience that already has a working knowledge of spiritual archetypes, the rigidity of the separation is actually really unique.
It is entirely deliberate. I mean, understanding that distinction is the key to operating the whole system.
Yeah.
Let's look at how the architecture of this framework actually defines them.
Okay.
So, spirit guides are treated as highly localized, non-physical beings. They're assigned specifically to support an individual's unique life path. We were talking about ancestors, angels, intuitive presences, or even animal spirits.
So they're very focused on the individual.
Completely micro. They are concerned with your journey, your obstacles, your daily reality.
So they are kind of like your personal academic advisors at a university.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Like they know your schedule, they know you're struggling with calculus this semester, and their entire job is to help you navigate your specific path to graduation.
Yes, exactly.
But goddesses, at least in this system, they operate on a completely different scale. They are the world-famous guest lecturers.
Right. They aren't looking at your daily schedule.
No. The system defines them as divine feminine archetypes representing massive universal qualities. We're talking wisdom, strength, compassion. You don't go to the guest lecturer to ask where the cafeteria is, right?
No, you go to them to understand the fundamental nature of courage.
Exactly.
What's fascinating here is the psychological framing that compartmentalization creates. By separating the localized, personal guides from the vast, universal goddess archetypes.
Like the Egyptian Isis or the Greek Athena.
Right, or the Hindu Lakshmi. By separating them, the framework offers you a highly tailored approach to problem solving. You aren't just sending a generic plea out into the void.
You have to actually think about what you need.
You are forced to diagnose your own needs. Are you dealing with a highly specific interpersonal conflict at work? You tune into a personal guide.
Okay, yeah.
But are you facing a massive life transition that requires, like, an infusion of raw archetypal power? Then you dial up a goddess.
Okay, so if we've successfully diagnosed that we need, say, the universal energy of a goddess rather than the personal advice of a guide, how do we actually make the call?
The mechanics of it.
Right. What is the physical mechanism for dialing that specific frequency? This brings us to the core toolkit. The source material outlines very specific stones for early connection depending on the bucket you are trying to reach.
Right.
Let's look at the localized personal guides first.
For spirit guides, the framework highlights 4 primary stones, and each one serves a really distinct mechanical function in this communication loop.
Kind of like parts of a radio.
Exactly. First is clear quartz, which operates as the universal amplifier. Think of it as boosting the gain on your receiver.
Turning up the volume.
Yeah. Next is amethyst. The system utilizes amethyst specifically to open the third eye and enhance spiritual awareness.
So it shifts the brain out of its mundane logical processing.
Exactly. So it can actually interpret the subtle messages being received. You can't be in spreadsheet mode when you're trying to talk to a guide.
That makes sense. Then you have labradorite, which I have to say is one of my absolute favorites visually.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
You turn it in the light and suddenly get these incredible flashes of iridescent blue and green. It's a phenomenon called labradorescence, right?
Yes, that's the geological term for it.
And the framework perfectly maps that visual trick onto its spiritual function. It uses labradorite to protect the aura while revealing unseen spiritual connections.
Just like the stone hides its flash until you look at it from the right angle.
Exactly. It helps you see the hidden guidance around you. And then rounding out the personal guides is selenite, which acts as the ultimate cleanser to keep the channel completely clear of static.
Now, when you shift your focus from those personal guides to the massive universal archetypes of the goddesses, the toolkit completely changes.
Right, because the frequency is different.
Exactly. You are no longer trying to clarify a personal message. You are trying to anchor a universal concept. So rose quartz becomes the bridge to goddesses of love and nurturing.
Okay.
Moonstone aligns with feminine and lunar cycles. Lapis lazuli is deployed for divine insight and ancient wisdom. And carnelian is used to anchor courage, creativity, and the passionate energy of warrior goddesses.
Okay, wait, I have to stop you there because my skeptical brain is flashing a massive warning light regarding carnelian.
I had a feeling you're going to bring that up.
Let's really look at this stone. It is bright orange, fiery red. It literally looks like a glowing ember or like a drop of blood.
It does.
Is the framework arguing that this stone inherently possesses some mystical warrior energy? Or is this just pure, unfiltered human psychology?
That's the big question.
Right. Like, does carnelian's fiery appearance simply prompt our brains to think of fire, blood, and passion, making the whole thing a highly effective psychological placebo?
That is the exact tension at the heart of this entire practice. I mean, we are deeply conditioned to separate the physical from the metaphysical. We think, oh, it looks like fire, so it makes me think of fire.
Right. Just a visual association.
But this framework actively rejects that separation. In this system, the physical visual traits of the stone and its energetic frequency are not coincidental. They are the exact same thing.
Wait, so the color is the frequency?
Yes. The dense, fiery physical makeup of carnelian vibrates at a frequency that naturally anchors the archetypal energy of courage. The visual isn't just a psychological prompt. It is the physical manifestation of the frequency itself.
Wow, okay, so the visual is the physical signature of the frequency. That actually makes the whole system feel much more cohesive.
It's all interconnected.
But simply owning the stone doesn't automatically close the circuit, right? I can't just buy a piece of amethyst, abandon it on my desk next to my coffee mug, and expect my ancestors to start giving me career advice.
No, unfortunately not.
The source material outlines that connection requires rigorous, highly specific rituals and ongoing maintenance.
It absolutely demands structure. The practice begins with the construction of an altar, which serves as a dedicated physical coordinate for these energies.
Like setting up a permanent radio tower.
Exactly. The instructions require you to select a quiet space and arrange your crystals with intense intentionality to represent the specific entities you are invoking. You build out the environment with symbolic items like candles, deity images, feathers, shells, flowers.
And there is also this incredibly grounded, almost funny little detail embedded in the source text here.
Oh, about the vendor.
Yes. Amidst all these profound instructions for building a sacred bridge to the divine, there is a very practical tip to source your high vibration stones from a specific vendor called Crystals by Rob.
Crystals by Rob. It is a wonderful reminder that this is still a modern practice happening in the real world.
I just love that. Shout out to Rob. But once you have sourced your stones from Rob or elsewhere and you've set your altar, the framework details a highly structured guided meditation.
This is where the actual mechanics of connection happen.
And it is a very deliberate, step-by-step physical process. You sit comfortably, you hold a crystal in each hand. That detail caught my eye, by the way.
Why is that?
Because it forces physical symmetry, effectively closing your body's energetic circuit. Then you breathe slowly, visualizing a protective light surrounding your aura. Then you actively invite the specific energy into that space. You ask your questions, and this is the hard part, you just remain open to whatever thoughts or imagery surface.
Which takes a lot of practice.
Totally. And you always close the circuit by expressing gratitude.
But the stones aren't infinite batteries. Because they are functioning as bridges, pulling energy from one realm to another, they absorb residue. They become congested.
Like a filter getting clogged.
Exactly. So the framework dedicates a significant amount of attention to cleansing and charging these tools. The methods are deeply rooted in elemental forces.
Like what?
Well, you expose them to moonlight to recharge their core capacity. You place them on selenite slabs, which the system treats as self-cleansing amplifiers.
Oh, so selenite cleans other stones.
Yes. You also use sound waves, from singing bowls or bells, to physically shatter stagnant energy. Or you can use intentional breath, literally holding the stone and exhaling your purpose directly into its lattice structure.
It perfectly mirrors how we are forced to maintain our technology.
How do you mean?
Well, you cannot run a smartphone indefinitely without eventually plugging it into a wall charger. That is the exact equivalent of placing your crystals under the full moon.
Oh, that's a great comparison.
And if you have like 50 apps running in the background for 6 months, your phone becomes incredibly sluggish. You have to manually clear the cache.
Right.
That is taking the singing bowl and using sound waves to clear the chaotic, stagnant data out of the stone.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, what these maintenance rituals are truly enforcing is an exercise in intense, sustained intentionality.
Yeah.
Washing stones in moonlight, ringing a bell over an altar, breathing purpose into a physical object. These actions force the practitioner to violently disrupt their own autopilot. They demand focus.
You can't just zone out while doing it.
No. You are taking your internal abstract goals and wrestling them into a tangible physical routine. The maintenance of the stone forces the maintenance of the mind.
Which perfectly sets up the largest and frankly most staggering section of our source text. We've covered the mechanics of the dial. Now the framework provides an exhaustive global directory of exactly who you can tune into.
It really is an incredible list.
It is a massive cross-cultural index pairing global deities with specific minerals.
The depth of this directory reveals something profound about human history and our relationship to geology. Take Madame Pale, the Hawaiian goddess of creation and fire. The system pairs her directly with lava and obsidian.
Which is brilliant in its geological literalism. I mean, obsidian is volcanic glass. It is born from the fiery depths of the earth, and it cools so rapidly it doesn't even have time to form a crystalline structure.
Yeah, boom, glass.
Right. That abrupt, violent, fiery creation is the exact energetic blueprint of a volcano goddess. It's not just a symbol. Geographically and geologically, it is her energy.
Exactly.
Then you have Bast, the ancient Egyptian cat goddess of the sun's blessings. The directory pairs her with tiger's eye and cat's eye stones.
And that relies on the optical phenomenon called chadiancy.
Chadiancy, right.
It's that shifting band of light inside the stone that looks exactly like a feline pupil. The framework maps that optical physics directly onto the feline archetype.
That's so cool.
But the directory doesn't just stop at elemental or visual matches. It tackles the most massive, intangible concepts in human spirituality. It pairs the Abrahamic concept of God with clear quartz.
Okay.
And it does the exact same thing for Kundalini, the Hindu concept of the vital, coiled life force.
See, that highlights the absolute internal consistency of this framework. Because earlier, the system defined clear quartz as the ultimate universal amplifier.
Right, the clearest frequency.
Exactly. It is the clearest, most adaptable frequency. So naturally, when dealing with the most expansive, boundless concepts of divinity across entirely different cultures, the system deploys the universal amplifier.
It makes perfect sense.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. The historical and geographical span of this directory proves this isn't just some modern invention. It maps a fundamental human urge across the entire globe.
It truly does. Look at Kuan Yin, the Chinese Buddhist goddess of compassion and mercy. The system pairs her with jade, pearl, and aquamarine.
Stones that feel very soothing.
Yes, jade is renowned for its toughness and soothing resonance, perfectly mirroring the enduring, quiet strength of mercy. And then you have Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of love, anchored by the soft, universally recognizable energy of rose quartz.
And then it reaches across the world to Chichikanixmukain, the Mayan creator goddess, pairing her with opal and agate.
The reach is amazing.
It really is. It even reaches deep into antiquity. Ereshkigal, the Sumerian goddess of the underworld. The directory pairs her with obsidian, jet, and hematite.
Consider the geology of those underworld stones. Jet is fossilized wood, right? It's compressed over millions of years under the crushing weight of the earth.
Literally buried.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And hematite is incredibly dense with iron, making it physically heavier than other stones of its size.
So it pulls you down.
Yes. The framework pairs the underworld goddess with these specific minerals because their geological reality, the pressure, deep time, iron, immense physical weight, is the exact energetic signature of the underworld. They literally pull you down.
Wow.
Contrast that with Essenadlihi, the Navajo fertility goddess, who is paired with turquoise.
Turquoise, which makes perfect sense when you think about the environment. I mean, in the arid landscapes of the American Southwest, water is the ultimate symbol of life and fertility. Turquoise captures the exact color of water trapped within the desert stone. It is the visual promise of life. You even have Cardea, the Roman goddess of doorways, paired with opal.
Which is fascinating because opal constantly shifts and changes color depending on how you look at it.
Right, it's literally a stone of transition, just like a doorway. And Amberella, the Lithuanian goddess of the oceans, paired with amber, which washes up on the shores of the Baltic Sea.
Across every civilization, isolated by thousands of miles and thousands of years, humans have consistently engaged in this exact same behavior.
It's universal.
It really is. We survey our local environments, locate the most visually distinct, geologically fascinating materials, jade in Asia, turquoise in the Americas, lapis lazuli in Egypt, amber in the Baltic, and we assign them to our most revered deities.
Yeah.
This directory functions as an encyclopedia of a fundamental human instinct, our absolute necessity to anchor our vast, invisible spiritual beliefs into the physical bedrock of the planet.
Which brings this massive cosmic directory all the way back down to your very grounded daily routine. Because the goal of this framework isn't just to, build an altar, marvel at Sumerian mythology, and then go about your day unchanged.
No, not at all.
The text actively demands that you integrate this tuning process into the mundane moments of your everyday life.
It prescribes a lifestyle of continuous integration. It suggests starting your morning with a dedicated meditation, literally holding your chosen goddess or guide crystals to consciously set your frequency before you even look at your phone.
Which is probably good advice in general, honestly.
Oh, definitely. It also heavily emphasizes journaling, forcing you to translate whatever abstract feelings you experience during meditation into concrete written language.
It also leverages the physical vibration of the spoken word through daily affirmations.
Yes, affirmations are huge in this.
It offers this incredibly potent example. Let me find it. Here. I open my heart to the guidance and energy of the divine feminine. I honor the goddess within me. By speaking it aloud daily, the framework argues you are actively reinforcing the energetic bridge.
Making it real in the physical space.
Exactly. But my absolute favorite practical application from this entire source text is arguably the simplest. Crystal carrying.
Oh, just keeping it on you.
Yeah, just slipping a small tumbled stone into your pocket or wearing it as a pendant for continuous low-level energy support throughout the day.
It is the perfect synthesis of the mystical architecture we've discussed and the reality of modern life. You take this object, which you have intentionally charged with a specific archetypal energy, and you carry it into traffic. You carry it to the grocery store. You carry it into your office.
So what does this all mean? Look, whether you are literally trying to summon the ancient wisdom of the Greek goddess Athena, or you are simply trying to mentally prep yourself for a deeply daunting afternoon performance review with your boss.
We've all been there.
Right. Carrying a piece of lapis lazuli or carnelian in your pocket serves a profound, undeniable purpose. It acts as a physical, tangible anchor for the exact mindset you have decided you need to embody that day.
Absolutely.
When you are stressed and you reach into your pocket and feel the cold weight of that specific stone, it violently snaps you out of your anxiety and back to your intention. It reminds you of the specific frequency you're trying to hold on to amidst all the static and noise of your daily life.
It absolutely functions as an intentionality anchor. And looking at this entire framework, it leaves us with a rather profound final thought to consider.
Oh, lay it on us.
If we accept the premise that these stones act as physical mirrors for the archetypal energies we wish to cultivate within ourselves, think about the stones you naturally gravitate toward.
Like without even knowing what they mean.
Exactly. If you walk into a shop tomorrow and find yourself completely mesmerized by a specific crystal long before you check the label to see its name or read its traditional meaning, What does that immediate physical attraction reveal about you?
Mm.
If the stone is the frequency, what is your subconscious secretly craving right now that your conscious mind hasn't yet realized you need?